Bombs fell on Kabul last night. Not from the United States. Not from a drone strike gone wrong. From Pakistan, its next-door neighbour, its former ally, its nuclear-armed partner of decades. And this morning, Pakistan's defence minister looked into a camera and said 6 words that haven't been spoken in this part of the world in a generation. It is open war between us.
Wait, Pakistan bombed Afghanistan's capital? When did this go from border skirmishes to bombing cities?
In about 72 hours. Here's the timeline. Last Sunday, Pakistan carried out airstrikes on what it said were militant camps inside Afghan territory near the border. Those strikes killed at least 18 people, including 8 schoolchildren. Afghanistan's Taliban government called it an unprovoked attack. On Thursday night, Afghan forces retaliated. They stormed dozens of Pakistani border positions and launched drone strikes on Pakistani military installations in the northwest. Pakistan confirmed 12 of its soldiers were killed. And then, early Friday morning, a few hours ago, Pakistan launched Operation Righteous Fury.
Operation Righteous Fury? That's the actual name?
That's the actual name. Ghazab lil Haq. Pakistani warplanes struck Kabul, the capital. Kandahar, the spiritual heartland of the Taliban, where their supreme leader is believed to be based, and Paktia province in the southeast. In Kabul, witnesses reported thick plumes of black smoke, the sound of jets overhead, and a massive fire after an ammunition depot was hit. Explosions kept going off as stored weapons ignited. Ambulance sirens everywhere. A taxi driver named Tamim told Reuters he was asleep when 2 bombs hit nearby. Quote, "Everyone in panic ran down from the 2nd floor of the house."
How many people have been killed?
That depends entirely on who you ask. Pakistan claims it killed 274 Taliban officials and fighters. Afghanistan says it killed 55 Pakistani soldiers. Pakistan confirmed 12 of its own dead. The Taliban confirmed 13 fighters killed. Reuters could not independently verify any of those numbers, and 13 civilians were confirmed killed at a refugee camp near the Torkham border crossing. Women and children among them.
What's driving this? Pakistan and the Taliban were allies for decades.
That's what makes this so significant. For years, Pakistan supported the Taliban, helped build them, sheltered their leaders, and when the Taliban retook Afghanistan in 2021, Pakistan thought it would have a friendly neighbour. Instead, it got an uncontrollable one. The core issue is a group called Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP. They're Pakistani Taliban militants fighting to overthrow Islamabad. Pakistan says the Afghan Taliban are sheltering TTP leaders, letting them use Afghan territory to plan cross-border attacks. Afghanistan denies it. The UN says the groups are linked. But what matters right now is that this is the first time Pakistan has directly attacked the Taliban government itself, not just alleged militants. They bombed the capital. That's a different thing entirely.
Could this turn into a full-scale war?
It already is, in many ways. Pakistan is nuclear-armed with a military that vastly outguns Afghanistan, but the Taliban are hardened guerrilla fighters who spent 20 years fighting the most powerful military in the world and won. Their shared border stretches 2,600 kilometres. That's 1,600 miles of mountainous, ungovernable terrain. The UN Secretary-General is calling for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Qatar, which brokered a ceasefire after similar clashes last October, is working to mediate again. And critically, the Taliban said today they're willing to negotiate. Their spokesman said the Islamic Emirate has always tried to resolve issues through dialogue. Whether that holds, one may see. Whether Pakistan accepts is the open question tonight. 22 million Afghans already need humanitarian aid. That number is about to go up.
So that's one nuclear-armed country attacking its neighbor. Meanwhile, what's happening with the other potential conflict zone, Iran?
Something that doesn't happen unless people at the very top believe war is coming. This morning, US Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee sent an email to all embassy staff in Jerusalem. The message was blunt. Non-essential personnel and their families were being authorized to leave Israel. And then This line, those wishing to take authorized departure should do so today, capital letters. While there may be outbound flights over the coming days, there may not be.
He's saying flights out of Israel might stop?
He's saying plan accordingly. KLM has already announced plans to suspend flights out of Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport. The British government withdrew its staff from Iran today, citing the ongoing security situation. China told its citizens to evacuate Iran immediately. When Beijing tells its people to leave, that's a signal.
Didn't the Iran nuclear talks just happen yesterday?
They did. 6 hours of indirect negotiations in Geneva, mediated by Oman. No breakthrough. But Oman's foreign minister called it significant progress. Iran's foreign minister said technical talks would continue next week in Vienna. And here's the tension. Trump left the White House today and told reporters he'd love not to use military force, but sometimes you have to. He said Iran can't have nuclear weapons, and he's not thrilled with the way they're negotiating. Meanwhile, his own intelligence agencies are contradicting him. 3 sources told Reuters that Trump's State of the Union claimed that Iran is working on missiles that will soon reach the United States is not backed by US intelligence reports. The Defense Intelligence Agency's 2025 assessment says Iran couldn't develop a militarily viable ICBM until 2035 at the earliest.
So the diplomatic track and the military track are both running at the same time.
Simultaneously, VP Vance met today with Oman's foreign minister, who mediated the Geneva talks. Secretary of State Rubio is flying to Israel on Monday, and Senate Democrats announced they're forcing a vote on a war powers resolution to make sure any military action against Iran gets congressional authorization. Vance told the Washington Post there's no chance the US gets drawn into a prolonged war, given that every American president who started a Middle Eastern military operation said the same thing: draw your own conclusions.
That brings us closer to home. Some pretty alarming ICE stories this week.
2 stories that happened yesterday, both in the New York, New Jersey area, and both will make you wonder what exactly federal immigration enforcement has become. In Newark, ICE agents attempted to arrest someone in a van. The driver fled. ICE gave chase. Through a densely populated city still being cleared of snow from a major storm, the chase ended in a multi-vehicle crash. 3 children were injured. They were in a rideshare vehicle that the fleeing driver struck. All 3 were taken to the hospital.
Were the children seriously hurt?
They were complaining of pain, but details beyond that haven't been released. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was furious. He pointed out that New Jersey state law prohibits law enforcement from engaging in car chases unless there's an immediate threat to life. His statement: ICE has no business engaging in chases at any time, anywhere, but especially in densely populated areas and on roads still being cleared from a significant snowstorm. This is the same mayor who was arrested last year protesting outside an ICE detention facility. Those charges were dismissed.
And then there was the Columbia University incident.
This one is extraordinary. Early Thursday morning, 5 plainclothes ICE agents arrived at a Columbia University student apartment building. They told the building superintendent they were from the police department and were searching for a missing child. The superintendent let them in. Security cameras recorded the agents showing pictures of an alleged missing child. When they reached the apartment of Elmina Agayeva, a 29-year-old undergraduate from Azerbaijan, they repeated at the same story. Once inside, it became clear there was no missing child. Columbia's acting president called the situation utterly unacceptable. They had no warrant. They took the student anyway.
They lied to get into the building using a fake missing child story?
That's what Columbia says, backed by security camera footage. Agayeva posted on Instagram during the arrest, "DHS illegally arrested me. Please help." Hundreds of protesters gathered outside Columbia, and then New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, a vocal critic of Trump on immigration, personally intervened with the president, and Trump told him the student would be released. She was, hours later. The charges are apparently still pending, but the precedent is what matters here. Federal agents fabricating a story about a missing child to gain warrantless entry to a student's home.
Meanwhile, Jeffrey Epstein is still making headlines from the grave.
Two Epstein stories today, both significant. Bill Clinton sat for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee this morning. It's the first time in American history that a former president has been compelled to testify before Congress against his will. In his opening statement, Clinton said he had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing and insisted he did nothing wrong. He referenced his own upbringing in an abusive household, saying if he had known, he would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice. His wife Hillary testified yesterday and called the entire process partisan political theatre. Democrats are now arguing this sets a precedent. If a former Democratic president can be deposed, they want Trump called to testify too. Chairman Comer said Clinton himself testified that Trump wasn't involved when he met with Epstein. Democrats dispute that characterization.
And the WEF resignation?
Borge Brender, the president and CEO of the World Economic Forum, the organization that runs Davos, resigned yesterday. An internal investigation found he had dined with Epstein 3 times between 2018 and 2019 and communicated with him by email and text. Brender says he was completely unaware of Epstein's criminal history and regrets not investigating him more thoroughly. The investigation found no concerns beyond what was previously disclosed. But Brender said the forum needed to continue without distractions. He's a former Norwegian foreign minister, and this comes just days after another former Norwegian Prime Minister, Thorbjørn Jagland, was hospitalized after a suicide attempt amid Epstein-related corruption charges. The Epstein files continue to detonate across global power circles.
One more story we should mention tonight.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, authorities discovered 2 mass graves containing at least 171 bodies. The graves were found in areas of eastern Congo that M23 rebels had recently withdrawn from. The governor of South Kivu province says evidence indicates the victims were killed by M23 fighters who suspected them of opposing the rebel group. This comes as fighting in the region escalates, despite a US-mediated peace deal. We covered the fall of Goma back in January. This is what comes after. The discoveries made when the fighting moves on.
So let me get this straight. Pakistan is bombing Kabul. The US is telling its people to get out of Israel. ICE agents are lying about missing children to arrest college students. A former president is testifying about Epstein under oath. And mass graves are being uncovered in Congo.
That's a Friday in February 2026. 2 potential wars escalating, domestic enforcement agencies operating with declining restraint, and the Epstein fallout still claiming careers from Davos to Downing Street. The pattern across all of these stories is the same. Institutions that are supposed to provide stability are becoming sources of volatility. Pakistan was supposed to be Afghanistan's partner. Diplomatic channels are supposed to prevent military escalation. Law enforcement is supposed to protect public safety, not endanger it. Congressional oversight is supposed to be non-partisan. None of that is holding. When you hear open war, authorized departure, and no warrant on the same day, pay attention. The rules are changing faster than anyone is writing new ones. I'm Zuri. Stay informed. We'll see you tomorrow.